Make sure to check us out on Letterboxd for written reviews.
for films that we've done not only on the podcast, but outside of the podcast too.
Links in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the Rewatch Awards. Please welcome your hosts, Samuel and Jaden. Fake applause. Fake applause. Hello there and welcome to the Rewatch Awards. The Rewatch Awards are like the Oscars, but cooler.
In season 2 of the Rewatch podcast, we've watched a total of 22 films. We started with Zack Snyder's Justice League, then moved on to Godzilla vs. Kong. We watched Star Wars, WALL-E, The Lego Movie, Arrival, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, The Empire Strikes Back, The Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Ooh, good film.
Shrek 2, Black Widow,
Ooh.
The Suicide Squad, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Prisoners, The Night House, Midsummer Director's Cut, Wonder Woman, Last Night in Soho, June, Spider-Man No Way Home, Don't Look Up, and we finished with Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so a lot of films there that we covered
Yes.
in the past year or so. And for our second season, obviously, in order to conclude it, we're taking a look back at all of those films we watched, and we're giving out both some positive and negative awards.
Yep, there are some familiar awards like the Best Animated Picture, and there are some original awards like the prestigious Meme Award. Before presenting the award to the winner, we will read out 3 nominations.
And I will take note that we do obviously have a live crowd in the audience tonight. We have invited, just like we did for the first show, we have invited all of the award nominees to the audience. They tell me that it's a better show than the Oscars, better food, all of that good stuff. So
Yes.
it's a pleasure to have all of them back. Some of them have had quite busy years.
Yeah.
So we're glad to have them in the audience yet again. What can we say? We just draw in the talent.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, and with no interruptions, we will move on to the first award, which is the Best of 2021. Now, it's important to note that this category obviously is Best Film from 2021 that we reviewed on the podcast. It's not a blanket, statement of the best film from 2021. It's the films that we watched. So, the nominations are?
The Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, June.
So we've gone 3 nominations there. 2021, I think it was, all things considered, with the whole, unnamed thing that's going on.
Happening.
Yes. A lot of movies obviously didn't come out in 2020 and were then delayed to 2021. So I feel like we got a lot of...
You got a pretty good year.
Yeah, it was a pretty great year, all things considered. Especially for superhero fans. We had some good ones, like The Suicide Squad, like Zack Snyder's Justice League. And we also had other superhero movies as well.
Yeah.
Lots of other ones from Marvel. And then obviously a very big one towards the end of 2021 there.
Yep.
Which, I'm sure some people would say probably deserves to be on the best of 2021 list. What would you say? Spider-Man No Way Home, was it close to getting on here?
No. Not for me.
Not for you?
I know it might be close for you in terms of the Suicide Squad, but I feel like the Suicide Squad's probably a better made movie.
I probably agree with you on that as well. I think the Suicide Squad was a great film. Didn't really have a big cultural impact. But speaking of big cultural impact, it's hard to deny that Zack Snyder's Justice League was a huge movie.
Yeah.
In 2021, especially considering it's a re-release
Yep.
of a previous movie. Just the fan campaign and the engagement that it still has to this day. Extraordinary.
It's crazy.
I mean, why wouldn't you take advantage of that
Yeah.
if you were Warner Brothers?
Good question.
You have to be stupid. The thing is, Warner Bros. Is stupid.
And you notice we didn't invite any Warner Bros. Executives tonight.
Well, I hear most of them are on their way out of their business anyway. With the whole Discovery merger coming along, they're all on borrowed time, so they're
Very
probably packing up their desks. Too busy doing that. That final entry, it's a strong one. June. It's a film that we both really loved to see in the cinema.
Yep.
Quite the experience,
Yep.
wasn't it?
Multiple times.
Yes.
Yes.
And it doesn't get old. Doesn't get old.
No.
So, the best of 2021. The award goes to,
June.
and I mean rightfully so.
I know.
In terms of cinema, in terms of filmmaking, and all of those different aspects of filmmaking coming together
Yep.
to form just a beautiful film, both
Yep.
like from a writing standpoint, visual standpoint. It's all quite incredible.
It was fantastic. The just the craft of it, Denis Villeneuve is just incredible with what he was able to achieve.
We like to call him Denny V on this channel.
Or
just
Denny V.
just to save us from the mispronunciation. But
Yes.
but yeah, so June, I mean, we're both coming from different standpoints. I've read the book, you've not read the book, and the fact that it was a hit for both of us, I think, says something in itself.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And we've both picked it up on 4K
yes,
steelbook.
beautiful steelbook as well.
So I think that just goes to show how much we love this film.
Yeah. Bring on the sequel. So, moving on to our next award, we have the Funniest Dialogue Award. This is one of our favourites. It's a bit of a quirky one.
Yep.
So, the nominations are, we have Bird from King Shark in The Suicide Squad.
Bird.
Great line, was in the trailer, but, was still very good.
And Sylvester Stallone is in the crowd tonight.
And we love Sylvester Stallone. We've been going through the Rocky movies recently outside of the podcast, and it's been a great time.
Yep.
Just don't watch Rocky 5. The next nomination is I'll Have the Medieval Meal. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Mother.
From Prince Charming in Shrek 2.
2.
And I mean, Shrek 2, what a movie that was.
It's such a fantastic
Full
movie.
of very funny lines. I think we might have had a few other Shrek lines in this nomination category that have been bounced out. But there's a big one. Welcome back to the bonus round.
Welcome back to the bonus round.
From Harry Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, if it's going to get an award,
This is the award.
it's a strong contender.
This is the only award.
Okay, so let's announce the winner for that one, and we'll have a bit of a discussion. Do you want to announce the winner?
Okay, so the winner for the Funniest Dialogue Award. I'll have the medieval meal. Thank you, Mother. Get up here, Rupert Everett. Here he comes. He's walking up the stairs.
Watching Shrek 2 was just honestly quite a delight. It's such a great movie, and it's almost funny like how good it is.
It's ridiculous how good it is. Yeah.
Literally every single line, if it's not like an insightful piece of dialogue in terms of the story, it's just a genuinely funny line.
Yep.
And there aren't many movies nowadays that you can genuinely find funny. There are humorous comedy movies that you go, haha, that's humorous, and this is lighthearted, plays around a bit, but this film was genuinely funny, and one of the lines that we thought were genuinely funny was this one.
We said this so many times, like we just kept on repeating this. Thank you, Mother.
Yeah. And I mean, when they go through the drive-through in Shrek 2, that's an iconic scene.
Yep.
And obviously that's when we get this line of, he'll have the medieval meal, which is obviously a reference to the McDonald's Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Which I think is just even more funny.
It's just so funny, man.
Yeah. So
the whole
brilliant.
concept, yeah.
A well-deserved award for that one. So we'll give that one out to, what was the name of the guy? Sorry?
Rupert Everett.
Rupert Everett. I mean, what a great performance. Definitely some iconic lines in there.
Yep.
Okay, so usually then we would go to the favorite Star Wars meme award. Now, this is a bit of a discussion in itself because we have 0 nominations for this award. And if you're familiar with the Rewatch podcast, you'll see that last season, our first season, we went through the prequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. And
we did Rogue One and Solo.
Rogue One and Solo, that is correct. And this season, we went through the prequel trilogy. I mean, not the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about the original trilogy is that there's
no memes.
It doesn't get memed because it's just a good movie. It's just
good movies.
And the brilliant thing about the prequels is that while you can enjoy Revenge of the Sith, there's a meme every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's not particularly because it's a terrible movie. It's just because it's very meme-worthy.
Yeah.
Think of that how you will. Is
Yeah.
meme-worthy? Does that mean it's good? Does that mean it's bad? It's a thing for you to decide. But the original trilogy does not get memed. It's almost outrageous how little memes there are about the original trilogy. So...
we couldn't really put together an award for this one.
So it's just an NA for this category.
Next season we'll have a few coming.
Yes, well, next season we are tackling the sequel trilogy. So goodness me, while the prequels are sort of memed, sort of wholesomely or with good intentions, to have a bit of a laugh and enjoy the concepts.
Yep.
The sequels are it's more of an aggressive, hateful memeing. It's like a meme that you throw in the executive's face. Like, oh, this is a meme, I'm going to throw it in your face. Whereas the prequels, it's like, oh, it's a meme because we love it. And you know, it's funny to laugh about.
Yep.
So, yes, I'm sure that category will come back. But I think it's very funny that the original trilogy just does not get memed at all.
Yeah, there's literally nothing to meme about the original trilogy films.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next award. Do you want to take this one, Jaden?
Yep. So next up, we have the worst CGI award. I think last year might have been Attack of the Clones took this one.
Oh, really? Yes.
With the floating pair.
The CGI pair,
Or
yes.
it might have been CGI Jeff Bridges. I can't quite remember.
Oh, no, I definitely remember. I think we gave it to the pair because I do recall that CGI pair coming up to collect the award.
Okay.
That is something
the pair
I want to
floated up the stairs.
That's exactly how it went. Yes, I'll never forget that. It was quite a sight.
Rightio.
Had to be added in later, of course.
Yes. Rightio. So for the worst CGI award, here are the nominations. Floating up the stairs. We have Yelena explosion from Black Widow, Han Solo stepping over Jabba the Hutt's hut, Star Wars A New Hope, Doctor Strange standing in front of a green screen, or fighting Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh gosh, this is quite a discussion. Let's start with the Yelena explosion. This is really funny to me because I see this clip on Twitter quite a bit now.
Yeah.
But when it released, if you were to put that clip up and say this is bad CGI, the MCU stands, they would come for you. They would come for you. They would say, they would give you an excuse like COVID or, whatever. But goodness me, watching it again, like I didn't realize how bad that was in the theater. And I walked out of the theater thinking that was a crap movie, which it was.
Yeah. Same.
But what are your thoughts on the Yelena explosion?
It is horrendously bad. Like they have just plastered an image on, like, a flat cloud backdrop.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. And then they've just, like, cut her out and it's, like, really fuzzy outline. It looks terrible.
And even the story aspect of it and the dialogue, because watching the clip, you obviously get to hear the dialogue. Scarlett Johansson is sort of running up and she sees what Yelena's about to do, and Yelena says, "This has been fun." And then Scarlett Johansson goes, "No." So, and then she does it, and then she explodes.
And then she just, like, flies backwards.
And she flies back and she doesn't get blown up.
Yep.
But just the fact that Yelena's like, this was fun. And Scarlett Johansson's like, no. It's like, this movie was fun.
Kevin Feige doesn't look too happy over there that he's He's
Yeah.
got good stakes to win
Look,
the worst CGI.
The MCU does a lot of things well, including cameos and continuity, but they really fall when it comes to some elements of filmmaking, in my opinion.
That's for sure.
Han Solo stepping over Jabba the Hutt's tail in Star Wars: A New Hope. This is obviously a special edition scene that's been put in, and you can literally see Han Solo's model being. It's like it's been moved up to the mouse.
Yeah,
That's how
it's like they dragged it around.
They dragged him up
Yep.
and down, and yeah, that's really terrible. But I mean, it was how many years ago? I don't know when the special editions came out.
Yeah.
But they obviously did what they had to do.
Well, obviously, Jabba the Hutt didn't exist back in
Yeah, so that's a
1977.
CGI Jabba the Hutt as well.
Because the character used to just be a regular dude. It was just a human dude.
Yeah.
So there was no tail behind there.
Yeah.
So they actually had to
Insert.
cut him out and then just move him with a mouse and put him over the tail.
Yeah, a CGI tail.
For anyone that wants context as to what we're talking about here, go on YouTube and search up these clips. You'll be able to find them really quick.
Yeah. And I mean, this one here, maybe not so much because it is a new movie and people like to defend this movie until they die. Spider-Man No Way Home. Doctor Strange standing in front of a green screen. Now, in the cinema, we were both having a great time. This is one of the best theater experiences we've ever had. And Doctor Strange standing in front of this green screen, both of us saw it straight away.
Yep.
And we both made the same expression, which is sort of just like a, ooh, like, ooh. And we're here, we're having a great time. I mean, the boys haven't shown up in the movie yet, so we're not having that much of a great time yet. But oh goodness me, there's like maybe 3 shots back to back of Doctor Strange, and it just looks
It looks so bad.
you can see the green screen.
Yeah, it's the same with the Yelena explosion. It's the same cutout, but I think this time around it's even worse because it looks so sharp. Like he looks so sharp on the
He
green
looks
screen.
so like he's not in the environment.
Yeah.
It's like he's in front of the environment.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. And
Yeah.
I don't know whether that could be solved with time, or maybe it's just how they've done the shot.
I think there's just no like motion blur. It just looks so perfect.
So sharp, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a tough category to be honest.
It's a seriously tough category.
Yeah. And the winner is, of course, you couldn't give it to anybody else. It's the Yelena explosion from Black Widow. And look, it deserves that award. Black Widow's going to walk away with that award, and they well and truly deserve it. The MCU, this should be an MCU regular category here, the worst CGI award. Considering this is a $200 million movie, released in 2021, they actually had more time than they would usually have to do the special effects because this movie was delayed so much.
Yeah.
And they still produced this. It's like, come on, you had the time, you obviously have the resources.
I don't think Florence Pugh wants to come up to accept the award.
That's okay.
No one seems to be coming up.
We'll throw it at Kevin Feige.
Here you go. Have this.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Jaden, what's the next award?
The next award up is the most bizarre message.
Ooh, this is a favourite.
Do you want to run us through the nominations?
Okay, so the most bizarre messages on the Rewatch podcast for season 2 include: you should be scared of nothing. That's the message from the Night House. Humanity is inherently stupid and deserves to die. That's the message from Don't Look Up.
If you didn't realise.
Join a cult to get over your breakup. That's from Midsummer.
Yep.
Now, obviously, we admit we have done some fabrication here. We've done some exaggeration in terms
What do you
of
mean?
the messages of
What do you
these
mean?
movies, but it is sort of grounded in some facts.
Yeah.
We have sort of taken it to the extreme, but it is some very bizarre things going on in these particular movies.
Yeah.
In the Night House, there is this existential threat that is, there's nothing. It's called nothing. So, why should you be scared of that?
Yeah.
Don't Look Up. I mean, everyone's stupid. They'll die in the end.
Yep.
And, it's a
Big spoiler alert if you
comedy.
haven't seen it.
It's a comedy. It's a good time. Except it's not, because everybody dies. It's very depressing.
Yeah.
So humanity deserves to die. That's a bizarre message.
And probably the most realistic here is join a cult to get over your breakup.
Yes, I would agree. That's like literally what happens.
That's the plot of the movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's announce
The winner.
the winner. So,
The winner for the most bizarre message is join a cult to get over your breakup. Midsummer.
it's a great one.
Yep.
It's a great one. I mean, it's literally what happens in the film.
Yep. I'd say the other two are pretty hyperbolic in terms of how we've taken them.
The Night House is pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, but Don't Look Up was a bit of a stretch.
That was a bit of a stretch.
But it is kind of funny though. That is, what else would the message of the movie be?
Yeah.
It's like humanity needs to do more on climate change. Like that is also a message, but
that's not the most bizarre message. So we have to twist it.
Yeah, but then also like every character is very stupid. Like every character in a position of power is so stupid, and they all die, and it's very cathartic to see them all die.
Yep.
But yeah, so we sort of take the message.
So Florence Pugh's coming up for this award now, but she wouldn't come up for the Yelena explosion.
I mean, fair enough. This is a more reputable award. That's most bizarre message.
Is it though?
I mean, she has joined a cult to get over a breakup, so that is one way to do it. We will admit that is one way to do it.
Yep.
So good on her. We wish her all the best in her cult-related activities.
Yep.
So yes, all right. Moving on to the next award. This is the award for Best Hero on season 2 of the Rewatch podcast. The nominations are
Bloodsport, the Suicide Squad, Luke Skywalker, Return of the Jedi, Emmett, the Lego Movie.
Now, on season 2 of the Rewatch podcast, we met a lot of heroes. There's a lot of heroes going around. And it's a tough category. And frankly, we focused on the main protagonist. This is sort of the main protagonist of the film. So it's hard with some of the team-up movies like Spider-Man No Way Home and Zack Snyder's Justice League to sort of say, okay, Batman is the main hero here, or Tom Holland's Spider-Man is the main hero here, because you could argue for other characters in those movies, but for these three, there's very distinct heroes, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on these nominations here?
I think we both had a great time with Idris Elba's Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad. we both thought he was really good in that role. Luke Skywalker, I mean, it's Luke Skywalker. It's so iconic, such an iconic character. And even Emmett from the Lego Movie is another great character. I think his whole hero arc in that film was fantastic. Yeah.
So the winner is
Emmett from the Lego Movie. This might be kind of controversial, considering we have Luke Skywalker in the same category.
Beating out Luke Skywalker is definitely, definitely a front runner for the award. But you argued hard for Emmett. Why was that?
Well, yeah, I think he just had a really good character arc in the film, and how he started off as this sort of NPC, and he converted more into a hero for all of his friends.
It's a good message, really.
It's a really good message.
You don't have to be extraordinary to sort of, stand up and do heroic things and look after your friends and everything. So it's a good message, and especially for a kids' film, it's very important that those films have, very very simple but very good messages to sort of teach children who just watch this because they like Lego. But subconsciously, they're registering the fact that Emmett was this ordinary guy. There's nothing special about him. He was just, thrust into this situation, and he just did the best he could, and he became this hero. And, he learnt lessons along the way in terms of, honesty lessons. I think he originally lied, saying that he was the special, which wasn't the case. And so then he sort of had to come clean about that. But then, try and find his own sort of special thing to do. So Yeah, I have no problem with that. Luke Skywalker is obviously an everlasting hero. But yeah, look, Emmett's a strong case as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
All right, moving onwards, we have the best villain category.
And another really hard category, might I add.
Yeah, we had to knock a few off. We obviously went through some sort of process of elimination. These nominations would have probably started with maybe 5 or 6, and we just knocked them off one by one. So it's a very tough competition here.
Yep.
But the nominations for best villain are Steppenwolf in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Fairy Godmother from Shrek 2, and, of course, Darth Vader from The Empire Strikes Back. It's, I'd say modern day times, we sort of have a problem with villains, just in not only superhero films, but just films in general.
Yep.
That just sort of comes down to the writing and more emphasis being placed on the hero than the villain. But there are some great ones here, and obviously the most modern one being Steppenwolf in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
For me, why I enjoyed Steppenwolf so much was because, unlike in the 2017 version of the film, he actually is a character. He actually, has some motivations, has a bit of backstory in terms of Darkseid and having wronged Darkseid. And he sort of has a sympathetic side to him. He just wants to go home, but Darkseid's obviously got him in some sort of, agreement where he has to conquer so many worlds before he redeems himself, because obviously he has done something in the past that Darkseid has not liked and has now punished him for. So I really enjoyed Steppenwolf, and I think the character design is just beautiful with all the reflective armor and stuff.
Such an upgrade.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'll let you talk about the Fairy Godmother and Darth Vader, because obviously...
You've covered Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Yep. Look, I think we both had a fantastic time with the Fairy Godmother. Jennifer Saunders absolutely killed this role. I'm in awe of how much I love this character. This character was fantastic.
Great villain.
A great villain. And at certain times you really hate the character. I think it's just such a clever idea to take, what was the Fairy Godmother, a protagonist generally referred to, and then just turn her into this sort of cynical character.
Right.
And that's what the Shrek universe does quite a lot, is they take these characters and they just kind of flip them on their heads. They have, I think it's Rapunzel. They have just turned into a villain in the third movie. So they do some pretty interesting stuff. But as for Darth Vader, I mean, it's Darth Vader. You all know what it's about. You've seen Star Wars. If you haven't, then click off this video. What are you doing? Just such an iconic character.
Specifically, Empire Strikes Back, I think it may be his most menacing performance, just in terms of how the character's written and how he encounters Luke. Obviously, with that Bespin fight, and even before that, when he's sort of crashing the dinner party with Han Solo and Leia and stuff. That's a great scene.
Yep.
And you see him torturing Han, and Boba Fett's there doing his bidding, and so I think more so than A New Hope, he's menacing, and obviously in Return of the Jedi you sort of see a different side to him when he comes back to the light.
Yeah.
So in terms of I am a villain, Darth Vader, Empire Strikes Back was the movie to go for, I think.
Yep.
But the winner in this category,
Darth Vader, The Empire Strikes Back.
and it's not like you can really argue with that.
Yeah.
However, the Fairy Godmother she does come close. I mean,
it's ridiculous how close she comes.
she's certainly not as iconic, but definitely for the purpose she serves in the story. She's very good at being a villain, and not really a stereotypical villain. It's different sort of villains.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to an award that is very close to our hearts. I'll let you read this one.
The next award is the prestigious Meme Award.
It's prestigious because it's in the title.
Yes,
It's very prestigious, this one. It's more prestigious than the other ones.
Yeah, because it has it in the title.
Yes, because it has it in the title.
Yes, indeed.
This is the one people want to take home, the prestigious Meme Award.
Yep. I'm pretty sure we see the same nominations as the just scrolling back up as the funniest dialogue award. It's very similar. It's
Slightly different.
very similar. We'll move past that. So the prestigious meme award nominations are Nom Nom, The Suicide Squad, obviously King Shark. Oh, thank you, Mother. Shrek 2.
That was a good impression.
Thank you. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself. From Spider-Man No Way Home.
I see what you mean here. We do have King Shark making another appearance, but it is with some other funnier lines where
Shrek 2 is also in there as well.
yes, but that is, I believe, not in the same scene as I'll have the medieval meal.
It's different. It's different.
It's in the scene where I think him and his mother are meeting the king, and they're sort of having this backroom conversation, and Fairy Godmother says to Prince Charming that I have to, brush your hair a few hours in advance for the ball or whatever. And then he goes, "Oh, thank you, Mother." Or she gives him some sort of compliment.
Yeah.
And he then goes on this very, very exaggerated, "Ooh."
Thank you, Mother.
So yeah, I mean, that's another great line from Shrek 2 from Prince Charming. So he's done well for himself so far at the awards show. And then, I'm something of a scientist myself. That's become a meme since Spider-Man 1 has been released.
Yeah.
And I think they put it in Spider-Man No Way Home just for a bit of fun.
I know, yeah.
And it's one of the things Marvel's good at. Just sort of throw it in there, not really because it serves a story, but just because it's
Just because the fans will be like,
hey, that's
Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme.
that's a thing from another movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's a great one. But the award for this one?
The award for the prestigious meme award goes to... I'm something of a scientist myself from Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes, and instead of giving this one to Kevin Feige, I think you've got to give it to Willem Dafoe because the execution of this line in Spider-Man 1 is one of the reasons why it gets memed.
Yeah. Because
Willem Dafoe is such a great actor.
Yep.
Such a great actor.
Yep.
And he does it with sort of this, this confidence and... I don't know, it's just some sort of suave nature to him.
Yeah.
Which is why it works so well. It's not necessarily the line and the words itself, which is why the prequels get memed because of the words itself.
Yep.
This is more of a sort of, it's half
The
and
delivery.
half. Yeah, it's the delivery of it. So it's definitely got to go to Willem Dafoe for that one. So
and I think he really stole the show in No Way Home.
Definitely. I mean, in terms of villains, Green Goblin's my favourite. A lot of people like Doc Ock, but I personally think that Green Goblin in that first Spider-Man movie was a more menacing and interesting villain than Doc Ock. A lot of people think Doc Ock's got great character development, but I'd actually disagree there. So, but I love a bit of Green Goblin, and he was a great villain in Spider-Man No Way Home, so that one has to go to him.
Yep.
All right. We're going to do one more award before we take a short break. So we are going to run through, this is a big category. This is sort of leading into our, Oscar-like awards.
Yep.
Coming up after the break, we have performance by an actress, performance by an actor, etc.
Yep.
Then we get into the big categories.
Well, arguably, the biggest categories have already been...
I mean, the prestigious meme award is very prestigious.
It's in the name, come on.
The prestigious meme award is prestigious, I will give it that.
Yeah.
But we have worst performance by an actor or actress. This award is unisex.
Yes.
So
we're gender neutral out here.
It applies to everyone. Okay?
Yes.
So, the nominations.
Amber Heard, of course she has to make an appearance. From Zack Snyder's Justice League. What a terrible delivery in the final.
Now, let's not get too deep into this, but in the actual film itself, she has a British accent.
Yep.
And in Aquaman, I believe she has an American accent.
Yep.
Which is one of the issues with her performance.
Yep.
But I think that, her performance throughout the Snyder Cut, like the actual film itself, is not terrible.
Yep.
However, when we get into the additional nightmare scene, she has 2 or 3 lines.
Yep.
It's not that hard. It can't be that hard.
Yep.
And just the way that she delivers those lines is just, it's not good. It's not good. It's like they had 30 seconds and they took the first take because, it's rough. And I don't think she's a great actress anyway. But that she almost kills that scene.
Yeah.
It's very tough to get through that because thankfully though, as soon as she says that line, Joker starts laughing and then you're interested in the Joker Batman.
Yep.
But goodness me, why don't we get Ray Fisher to say that instead?
Yeah.
Prompt that Joker to come in. Because anybody else could have done it better. Honestly, even Ezra Miller via Zoom could have done it better. Like, it's rough. Anyway,
Yep.
that's my little rant on why Amber Heard is in there.
Yep.
The next nomination?
The next nomination is all of the cast members from Godzilla vs. Kong.
Wow, that's a bold statement there. Well, not really, because they were all terrible.
They're all consistently bad.
It is important to note, though, that we aren't including Godzilla and Kong themselves in this category. Great actors, honestly.
Fantastic performances.
Yeah, great performance. Yes. Honestly, the best performances in the movie, I'd say.
Yes.
And they are, in fact, the VFX characters. So what does that say? I mean, what does that say? Is that a writing problem? Is it the actors themselves? I mean, maybe a bit of both.
Maybe both.
Rebecca Hall is in there, though, and she's a fantastic actress, but she's not good.
She's terrible in this.
So maybe it is the directing and the writing. So anyway, the last nomination?
The last nomination is Ivan Dreykov from Black Widow.
Yeah. This is a combination between writing and acting.
Yes. It's just a horrendous movie character, just terrible all around. I mean, there's a reason why it's in the worst actress performance. Well earned, I must say.
Yeah, the character has about as much development as
a snail. Which is none.
Yes, I was searching for it.
That was a very weird analogy there.
No, that's great. That works great. And sort of you could say that the movie itself moves like a snail throughout the plot. Because, it's just a dumpster fire of a movie. And this character is very obviously a Harvey Weinstein sort of replacement here. He's just an old white Russian man who is just inherently bad, and we're given no reason as to why he acts the way he does. We're just supposed to accept that he is a bad man, and he must be stopped.
And his weakness is he smells or something?
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, so no. So
superpower.
His superpower, his main strength, is that he cannot smell. I think.
No. You're completely mistaken it, which I don't...
Oh, no. Yes, that's right. Go on, explain it.
So, his superpower is that he has some sort of testosterone superpower.
Whatever it is called.
Where he gives off these...
he smells a certain way.
Yes, and if the Black Widow characters smell him, then they are under his mind control. So... Wow, what a great superpower.
I honestly, that had been completely, erased from my mind. And just hearing it from an objective, just saying it how it is. And not, in the film itself. It's just so funny. It's so bad. And it is so bad. And then, because that leads... our main hero in this story to have this triumphant moment where she breaks her nose on the desk. And that's just supposed to go,
wow.
Heroic moment right there.
Great writing.
Goodness me. Well, it's a very strong category, to be honest.
It's a very, very close one.
But the winner of worst performance by an actor or actress goes to the entire cast of Godzilla
Yes,
vs.
yes.
Kong. I mean,
Everyone get up on stage.
well
Here they
deserved.
come.
Yeah, all like major cast members. So that would be like maybe 10 or 15 of them.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
What a
And
bad performance.
yeah, and there are talented actors and actresses in the film, but goodness me, they were just. I mean, remember, what's the Isla Gonzalez?
Yeah.
How she would just have reaction shots where she just didn't react. The
Yep.
movie was just showing you how hot she was.
Yep.
Just while
She gets out of a helicopter and just stands there.
yeah, and no performance necessary. They're just hoping that they can bank on the look
Yep.
to sort of get you through the film.
Which
Anyway,
it does.
Yeah, somewhat, barely.
Okay,
yeah,
you can all get off stage.
She
now.
does die at one stage, so then
Does
afterwards
she?
the movie takes a hit. I think she does.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. So yeah. On that note, we're going to take a short break, and hopefully this is a uninterrupted break.
Yes.
It's going to run very smoothly.
We had a few problems last.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, last time we were rudely and just horrifically interrupted by one Martin Scorsese, who, if you don't know, is a director.
Yep.
And he has directed some well-received films in the past.
Yep.
His recent ones of late, I mean, The Irishman particularly, I don't believe was a very nice
What a bad movie.
Yeah, too long. But he did break onto the Rewatch Podcast Awards last year and caused a bit of a fuss. Since then, I've been told by the relevant authorities that he has been residing in Arkham Asylum, which is where he should be.
Yes.
To get some much needed help and clarity to his issues.
And just in case, we have informed our security of
We've
of
toughened
this
up measures.
gentleman. So hopefully,
we do have Robert Pattinson in the house, so
Yes.
if we need some vengeance, we can call on him.
I am vengeance.
So yes, I hope we haven't jinxed ourselves there by bringing up Martin Scorsese.
Hopefully not. I think our chances are pretty good that we'll...
Oh, I mean, he's locked away in Arkham Asylum. Nobody escapes.
No one
there.
escapes from Arkham Asylum.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, so with that said, we're going to go on a break, enjoy some awards music uninterrupted by the likes of Martin Scorsese. We'll be back soon.
Hello, my name is Martin Scorsese. I have recently broken out of Arkham Asylum where I have been held captive since my last appearance on the Rewatch Awards. For the past year I have been listening to every Rewatch podcast and have been waiting for the opportunity to break into this awards ceremony once again. However, my time at Arkham has provided me with some much needed clarity. Upon reflection, while I believe that Marvel movies are generally bad, I actually found The Batman to be a good movie. Maybe the MCU isn't so bad after all. Still, this awards show is utter trash and Taxi Driver is better than all of these movies. Robert De Niro is the best actor in the world and he deserved to win all of these awards. Goodbye. I will no doubt be arrested for my actions here tonight. It was worth it.
All right, welcome back to the Rewatch Awards. I do have to apologise unexpectedly,
Whoa.
completely unexpectedly.
As if this happened again.
Lightning does strike twice, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Martin Scorsese has returned. He has been currently being escorted.
Out of the building by Robert Pattinson.
Yes, and relevant authorities. He did say in his short outburst that he has been in Arkham Asylum for the past year, and how he has broken out of that prison, I am not sure. We will have to investigate.
I thought that was impenetrable, both inside and out.
Yes, many times we have seen villains far worse than Martin Scorsese not successfully break out of Arkham Asylum. It's a very, very tightly locked prison. So that is quite disturbing that he is on the loose.
He is somewhere out there roaming the streets.
Yes, but please remain calm. He is in custody again.
Oh, thank God.
Hopefully, he remains there. But he did say that he has come around on the MCU.
That is good.
And that he has seen the Batman. He says it's maybe it's time for him to reevaluate his opinions on Marvel movies because he's seen the Batman.
Yes. Well, I think we should also inform him that the Batman isn't an MCU movie. There seems to be a bit of a mix-up going on there.
Yes, but the man is delusional. So whatever he wants to believe, whatever gives him comfort.
We'll lock him in a 5-foot prison and then say, whatever, Martin, whatever you want.
Yes. Well, he has been taken into custody again. I don't know what they're going to do with him because he has broken out of Arkham Asylum. So I don't know if there's a prison that's more fit for his needs than Arkham Asylum. But I will say, though, when he was having his outburst, he did say that Arkham Asylum provided him some much-needed clarity. And I will draw your attention to Lex Luthor in Zack Snyder's Justice League, who says almost those exact words.
Those exact lines.
It is quite disturbing.
Yeah.
I will say that Martin Scorsese has sort of become this Lex Luthor type
figure.
Yes. So that is most disturbing. Obviously, he wouldn't know who Lex Luthor is. So
I got the inside scoop, and I heard that he has a small television in his
right, just like in the Dark Knight
jail
Rises,
cell.
how he has the television.
Yes. And he has Taxi Driver playing on repeat.
On repeat. Goodness me.
Just over and over again.
You got to feel for the prison guards. you got to feel for them. Okay. Well, moving onwards. In the name of Martin Scorsese, we will charge forward with the awards show. The next award is the best performance by an actress in a leading role.
Yes. So the nominations are Amy Adams from Arrival, Rebecca Hall from The Night House, and Florence Pugh from Midsummer.
I mean, this is an extraordinary category.
And this was a very, very hard to pick category, might I add.
All of these nominations, in my opinion, deserve to win Oscars when those movies were released. Mm-hmm. Rebecca Hall obviously is the most recent performance. Mm-hmm. She was incredible in that movie, like genuinely incredible. The movie's great because she's great. Yes. I do enjoy the story elements, but if she's not good, the movie falls apart. And she is just brilliant. And I've been revisiting some for other stuff like The Town, and I think she's great in that as well. Obviously,
fantastic in that.
In The Prestige as well, very good. Mm-hmm. So, incredible actress, and what a performance in The Night House.
What a performance in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Not so much, but when she's given the right material, she can go places.
Yep. Amy
Adams in Arrival. I know we had mixed opinions on this, but I think we could agree that Amy Adams was quite good.
Yes,
and
for sure.
Definitely deserved to be... I don't know. I think she might even not have been nominated for an Oscar when...
Which is criminal. Absolutely criminal.
Especially considering how well Arrival did at the awards. But that performance in particular was very, very good by Amy Adams. Similarly to Rebecca Hall. Mm-hmm. Carries the movie on her shoulders.
Yep.
But because she's so good, it works. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on Florence Pugh?
I mean...
You're a big fan?
In general, I'm a big Florence Pugh fan. But I think we can both agree that this performance was just outstanding. How she just displayed her emotion on screen was fantastic. And same as with all of these actresses. I mean, Rebecca Hall was also a very emotional performance.
I think Florence Pugh's performance in Midsommar was a bit more subtle compared to the other two.
Yeah.
Obviously, towards the end, we get to see a really
Complete outbreak. Yeah.
But throughout the course of the film, it's a very subdued but still brilliant and chilling performance.
Yes.
Yeah. So the winner of this award?
The winner of the best performance by an actress in a leading role is Florence Pugh, Midsommar. And
Tough category.
This could have gone either way. I think all of these actresses are esteemed in their performances. But I think we came to a decision that Florence Pugh took this one home tonight. Florence Pugh's winning quite a few tonight, actually.
Yeah, she's having a good night.
Yeah.
Definitely winning on the aggregate score so far.
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations to her. Definitely well deserved.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our next category. Do you want to announce this one, Jaden?
So the next category is Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role. The nominations are...
We have Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. We have Hugh Jackman from Prisoners. And we have Timothée Chalamet from Dune. Tough category.
Extremely tough category.
But, maybe not as tough as the women's category.
Yeah.
Because we do have Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I do think his performance in that movie is one of the best parts of the film, as well as Emma Stone's.
Yep.
And sort of almost a saving grace for most of the film. Mm-hmm. And we've seen him come out and say, oh, that scene that's really, really good?
Yep.
That was my idea. Oh, and that other scene that was really, really good? That was also my idea. And it's like, well, why doesn't Andrew Garfield just direct the Spider-Man movie,
Yep.
and star in it himself? Because he had some great ideas, but his performance is quite emotional in the film, and I think he pulled it off. So, what did you think of Hugh Jackman in Prisoners?
Wow, what a realistic performance. If you haven't seen Prisoners, go watch it. It's a fantastic film. I think his performance was just so disturbingly realistic. You really feel for his character in the film. I think Hugh Jackman is an absolute standout in that movie. Also, Jake Gyllenhaal does a fantastic performance, and we'll maybe talk about him later on. But yeah, he absolutely just killed it in this role.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Hugh Jackman, he's had some experience with Wolverine in doing those rage scenes, and my God, he's great at them.
And Logan,
Yeah.
what a fantastic performance.
Exactly. I mean, almost as good as this performance, but I think this was probably his best performance I've seen from him.
Yeah.
The sheer rage and the sadness and everything. It's just so well done.
Yep.
Then we also have Timothée Chalamet in Dune. A lot of 12-year-old girls love this man. And to see him cast as Paul in Dune was very, very... I don't know, he gave me some confidence in the film because he's a great actor, and I've seen him in some other stuff, and he's brilliant. He's also chosen to do a lot of indie stuff and keep doing indie stuff, even though his sort of popularity has been rising.
Yep.
We haven't seen him become a Spider-Man or a Batman or whatever.
Yep.
And
I love the stuff he's doing.
Yeah,
he's very selective.
He has great taste as well. I don't think he's done many things that are bad. You've seen him in Little Women, right?
Yeah, such a great performance in that as well. I mean, we also saw him in The French Dispatch, was fantastic.
Yeah, he was good in that. I also saw him in Beautiful Boy, which is a story about a drug addict son dealing with his condition, and Steve Carell playing the father. And that was an incredible movie, and that is an Oscar-worthy performance, in my opinion, in that from Timothée Chalamet there.
Yep.
I'm surprised he didn't get an Oscar, because it's a very sort of Oscar-friendly role.
Yep, Oscar bait.
Timothée Chalamet in Dune, I mean, he had a lot of things to do in terms of the emotions. Paul's a very complex character, so he had to sort of be confident, but also be childish a bit, and sort of. So he had a lot of things to do, and I think he did it really, really well. So great performance from him. I'm very interested to see where his character will go and where his performance will go in the next movie. But the winner, of course, has to go to Hugh Jackman in Prisoners, because that performance stands above the rest, and just it's a joy to watch, really. Hugh Jackman, Australia's own, probably the best Australian actor ever. In my opinion, at least.
I'd have to agree with that.
So, well-deserved award. Hugh Jackman is taking home the best performance by an actor there.
I mean, Rebecca Hall, also Australian, born and raised.
Yes, that's very true. That is very true, and that is one of the reasons why, Rebecca Hall, I'm a big fan. So yes. Moving on to the next category, which is the best supporting performance from an actor. You want to take this one, Jen?
So the nominations are Viggo Mortensen from Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Oscar Isaac, June, Jake Gyllenhaal, Prisoners, and we touched on Jake Gyllenhaal from Prisoners briefly before, but another fantastic performance. I mean, he sort of plays this this sort of cop that's the sort of the anchor to Hugh Jackman's character.
We had a discussion as to whether he was the main protagonist or not, because they very evenly share screen time.
It's very similar to the Last Night in Soho with Anya Taylor-Joy.
That's very true. Thomasin McKenzie.
Yes, very similar in terms of how they shared screen time in that. What are your thoughts on Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh, I mean, that performance is definitely up there with my Gyllenhaal performances. I probably put it second behind Nightcrawler.
Exactly, yep. Same.
But what he does in this film from nothing is make this character very, very interesting, and it makes it seem like there is more to him than we see in the film. Just from his tattoos, from his demeanor, how he walks, how he talks, how he blinks. Constantly tired, frustrated, but also this heroic aspect to him. Just an incredibly well-constructed character, and it's not really due to the writing, it's due to his performance. So he really takes that character and runs with it. I also really like Oscar Isaac in June. Oscar Isaac, he's been trying to get in some good sci-fi stuff. He has in the past. He's been stuck in Star Wars for a few years, which is unfortunate for him because his character really went nowhere in there. But hearing him being cast as Duke Leto was like, it's perfect, and it's exactly how you would think the character would be in the book. Just absolutely nailed a very limited role, but played his part so perfectly, because it does influence the rest of the saga with his death in June, and just played this really tortured father who loves his son but sort of knows that death is awaiting him. He's a doomed man. And Oscar Isaac just absolutely nailed that role. You're a big fan of Viggo Mortensen.
Oh yeah, I mean, aren't you as well? I mean, Aragorn is a fantastic character. Probably one of my favorites from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Just the way he handles the character and the way he converts the source material. So faithful, such a faithful adaptation. And just a phenomenal performance. I could go on about his performance for ages, but in a nutshell, it is just fantastic.
But the winner of the Best Supporting Performance from an Actor is going to go to Jake Gyllenhaal in Prisoners, which means that Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal are both taking home the Rewatch Awards for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor, respectively, for Prisoners. Which is very just, I feel.
And I think that's a testament to how good of a film Prisoners is, and why you should go watch this movie.
And also a testament to the director, Denny V. I mean, he's got 4 nominations total in the Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor alone. He's got Hugh Jackman, Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, and Jake Gyllenhaal. All of those performances from the men in his movies are really, really good. And we'll see in the next categories, the women in his movies are great as well. So that is a testament to him. I mean, I think Denny V got the best performance out of Ryan Gosling he's ever given.
Yep.
In Blade Runner. He just manages to get those performances. So Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
I mean, Blade Runner and Dune, very good.
Yeah.
So he obviously is very good with the actors, which is a very important thing.
Crucial.
So let's move on to the next category, which is Best Supporting Performance from an Actress.
Yes.
Would you like to read this one?
So the nominations are Emma Stone, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Rebecca Ferguson, June, Anya Taylor-Joy, Last Night in Soho.
I will say I do recall Emma Stone getting nominated last season
Yes.
for this award. Did she take it away?
Not quite sure, but I think it was for The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yes, yes.
So
she's back again.
She's back again.
Which is a testament to how good her character is in that saga.
Yes.
I mean, everyone who's watched those movies knows that Emma Stone is legitimately, objectively, the best part about those movies. Her chemistry with Andrew Garfield, electric, and her character Gwen Stacy is not just a love interest. She is much more. She's tied into the story so well.
Yep.
From the beginning to the end.
Yes.
It's literally her saga because, it starts with Peter meeting her and then it finishes with her dying. And it makes me think that if she wasn't brought back somehow in The Amazing Spider-Man 3, it might have lost something that made it so special.
Yep.
But I do hear that they were planning on bringing Spider-Gwen into it. But still, Marvel, give me Spider-Gwen, please.
Yes.
Emma Stone, please. I beg you. I beg you.
Then you can sleep at night.
Yes. Then I can die a happy man.
Yes.
I keep saying that. I do have Andrew Garfield back as Spider-Man. That is enough for me.
Yeah.
At least for now. But,
It won't satisfy you forever.
I need Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone on screen again, even though it would be very awkward considering they've broken up and now she's married and has a child with somebody else. But I need to see them on screen again. That would be beautiful.
That's some La La Land stuff there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Andrew Garfield is literally Ryan Gosling's character in that movie. Not literally, but I like to think he is. He's very similar. The next nomination?
The next nomination
After Emma Stone for The Amazing
Emma
Spider-Man
Stone is Rebecca Ferguson from June. What a phenomenal performance, man.
Yeah.
Just really the emotion of the film lands on Rebecca Ferguson.
Honestly, the anchor of the movie, I would say.
Yep.
A crucial component.
Absolutely crucial component in the film. I think Rebecca Ferguson is just such an esteemed actress. You still haven't seen Mission Impossible Fallout.
No.
If you were to watch that, you would understand how versatile she is.
Right.
She is just an absolutely phenomenal actress. And I think that she rightfully deserved a nomination in this category.
I'm really looking forward to seeing her in the next film as well. She has a very important role to play in that second half of the book.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, she was so good in this. And I was really hoping she would get an Oscar nomination. She didn't, but I was really, really, rooting for her to get that nomination. But unfortunately, probably just missed out.
Maybe it's the screen time. Who knows?
Yeah, it might be, but I think people have won it for less, maybe.
Yep.
But yeah.
Run us through the last one.
The last one is Anya
Anya
Taylor-Joy
Taylor-Joy.
from the Last Night in Soho. Look, man, I'm a simp for this woman. I'm a simp for all of these women, to be fair. Emma Stone, Rebecca Ferguson, Anya Taylor-Joy. That's like my personality right there. I love that. So, especially Last Night in Soho, Anya's character being this sort of... When is it set? The 60s? 60s, 70s?
I want to say 60s.
Yeah, just how she embodies that spirit. It's one of the more interesting parts of that film. And it is a flawed film, but you can't deny that when Anya's on screen, she just holds a presence,
Yeah, just absolutely, like you said, just makes a presence on screen.
For such a young actress as well,
know,
to have that presence.
It's insane.
Superstar.
Yeah,
presence,
yeah.
she's got the confidence.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see her in The Northman this year.
Yep.
And so I'm looking forward to that because she's an incredible actress.
And possibly in June Part 2.
Oh, yes. Well, it's either going to be Florence Pugh or Anya. Anya.
Yeah.
I would prefer Anya, to be honest, but Florence Pugh's a great actress, as we've already covered. So for Princess Irulan, or however you say it.
I'd be happy with either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But I think, yeah. Well,
Would you be happy with either? You're sounding hesitant.
I would prefer Anya Taylor-Joy, to be honest. I think she has more of that royal aesthetic to her. She looks a bit like she just has the look better.
I think she fits into the world better.
Yes, I agree. But, you know, the fact that Jason Momoa worked in Dune
Yep.
shows that, you know, through costuming and how characters were designed and
Shaving your beard.
yeah, just making those sort of changes. I imagine they'll dress Florence Pugh. I think she will get the role. I mean, if she's in talks and that's public, she's probably got it already. But I think they'll dress her up into this nice royal attire. She'll put on this, you know, we won't see her a lot of her,
Yep.
but she'll put on this very, like, prestigious, you know, she can do that. I think
Yeah.
she can do that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to whoever they cast. I think will be great. But it's either going to be Florence or Anya. But Anya's probably tied up in some other things, probably. But yeah, the winner is Rebecca Ferguson in June.
Yes.
And rightfully so. I mean, it's a tough category, to be fair, but Rebecca Ferguson. I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't steal the movie, but she supported so well.
Yep.
As the mother of the main character and the wife of one of the most crucial characters, just absolutely played her role to perfection. And I'm interested to see what happens next because she's going to be the single parent now because obviously her husband is dead. Well,
Yes.
not her husband, they never married, but with Duke Leto dead, she's going to be the only sort of guiding point for Paul's character going forward. So
Yep.
she's going to be very, very important. So it's going to be interesting to see how her performance evolves. But
Yeah. Yep.
do you like her in this category, beating out Anya and Emma
Yeah.
Stone?
Yeah. Look, I think any of these actresses are deserving of this role, of this award. Rebecca Ferguson, man, is when you think of supporting actress, you think of her in this role. She doesn't overextend. She doesn't, take too much away from the main character. But she sort of plays in the background a bit and supports. That's essentially what she does.
Yeah.
So yeah, just great performance.
Okay, let's move on to Best Director. The nominations for this category are George Lucas for the original trilogy. Well, he directed the very first movie, did not direct the other one. So he's only eligible for Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yep.
We have Danny V
Yep.
for Dune, for Prisoners, for Arrival.
3 movies.
For anything else? No,
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think so. Not yet. Anyway.
Yes.
And then we also have Peter Jackson for Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I'll let you have a discussion about these and then announce the winner because
Yep.
I think your expertise sort of lie in this area here.
Yeah. So, I mean, George Lucas is just, he created something extremely special that's, almost 50 years later, is still leaving an impact on people. It's so well received. It's such a phenomenal movie, so iconic. If you think of sci-fi, you think of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's just generation defining. It's genre defining. It's an incredible movie, and the way that he directed it was it's arguably sketchy coming from the actors and actresses.
It doesn't seem like he worked very well with his actors,
Yes, but
which is probably one of the reasons why the saga as a whole didn't sort of maintain
yeah,
the original trilogy, sort of.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, you have to put him in here for his impact that he had.
Yeah, certainly.
Denis
Denny V.
Denny V. Let's call him Denny V. Look, we did 3 movies this season of Denny V's filmography. He's such a phenomenal director, man. I'm pretty hit or miss with him, as you know, and as the viewers know, if you're a big time listener. But I mean, you just have to respect what he does. He's one of the best working directors today. He has created some instant classics, as you might want to call them. And obviously, you know, we've talked about June on this podcast and how much we both loved it. Just a phenomenal director, man, and well deserved to sit in between these two. Obviously, Peter Jackson has created one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic trilogy of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
Just an absolute one-to-one faithful recreation of J.R.R. Tolkien's novel. Yeah, just an absolutely incredible piece of work. We talked about Fellowship on this podcast in this season.
Good friend Harry.
With Harry, yep. It was a great combo, that one, actually. And in the future seasons, we'll talk more about The Two Towers and Return of the King, so stay tuned for them. And I think we're about to go on a bit of a marathon with the extended editions. I just picked them up on 4K, so that should be fun. But obviously, you know, all of these directors are fantastic. They each deserve this to win this award. It was a very, very close one. I think this was probably the second hardest to decide.
It was very difficult.
Yeah. And the winner goes to?
It goes to Peter Jackson for that first Lord of the Rings film. It got a AA+ from us, which was sort of the defining factor, I think. Denny V, as you said, you can be a bit mixed on Denny V. I'm quite a fan, but still, he only got one AA+ from us. I think Prisoners was maybe averaging an A- or A maybe.
I gave it a B+, you gave it a A+. So...
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, averaging around the A- A mark. And then George Lucas, A New Hope, I think you gave an A+, and I gave an A. Or an A- maybe. So
you gave it an A, yeah.
Peter Jackson's the only one here with a completely clean record, and I imagine going forward he will also still have a completely clean record in terms of A+.
Really?
Yeah, I mean... Maybe Two Towers slides to an A, A-, but it's not going to go into the B territory. No. It's still a great movie.
Yeah.
And then he's obviously going to get a AA+ for the last one.
Exactly.
Of course. So Peter Jackson, I mean,
I can already see that winning.
Yeah, it's honestly like you could make a good argument as to why it's the best trilogy of all time. But I am looking forward to watching the extended editions.
Yep.
The next award is Best Original Song from the Rewatch playlist. I know we've been saying it throughout this podcast, but this is generally always going to be the hardest category for us because every podcast we do, we take 2 songs from the film we just watched and put it into the Rewatch playlist, which is a playlist on Spotify you can listen to by going into the description below. And so automatically every week every podcast we do, we're putting 2 great songs. We're putting 2 great songs into this playlist, and it's just growing and growing and growing with great, great, great songs. And we have to choose 3 from like 40 great songs.
It's
which
hard.
Is very, very, very difficult.
Yes.
So the nominations are, we have the main title from Star Wars from John Williams. That's from the first movie, but it's reused in every other movie.
Yep.
Which obviously comes up when the big Star Wars logo and the opening crawl plays. We have Concerning Hobbits from The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which is from Howard Shore, which is one of the most iconic songs from Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
We also have Ripples in the Sand from Dune, which is by Hans Zimmer. Very iconic already. Very recent movie, of course. So maybe there's a bit of recency bias there, but...
I wouldn't say so.
I wouldn't say so
it's such a phenomenal song. We both love it, and we love that scene.
The score is incredible in Dune, and in the cinema, what an experience that was. Ripples in the Sand.
Yep.
So, yeah, look, the winner, it's going to go to main title, the Star Wars theme there, because it's Star Wars. And, I mean, it's the most if you go up to almost anybody and say, "Can you hum the Star Wars theme?" They'll do the main title. They won't do the Force theme. Yeah, they won't do, you know, Duel of the Fates or, you know, Across the Stars or whatever it's called. They'll do the main title. So it's got to be the clear winner. Well deserved. John Williams. What a talent and truly remarkable composer. So, moving on to a similar award, Best Original Score. I'll let you go through the categories. This is obviously for the overall score of a film. So which film had the best score that we dealt with on season 2?
So the nominations are The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Hans Zimmer; Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Howard Shore; and Star Wars, John Williams. I mean, we've pretty much just talked about them because they are very similar to the previous award in terms of nominations. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 snuck in here. I wouldn't say snuck. I would say it's rightfully deserved to sit amongst these. Hans Zimmer just absolutely popped off on this.
I have no idea why as well. It's so bizarre. It's so funny because it's not a great film. I will admit that. But the score here is so complex and unique. And there's like, I don't know why, but Sony went all in on the sound department. They got like a group of 10 people, including Junkie XL, Hans Zimmer. And then you got Pharrell Williams, Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys?
Yeah. So Sony just essentially went, okay, so get our top 10 artists in this room, put them in a room for 6 months and make them just jam out. And it gave us such a complex sort of score, and people don't appreciate it because the movie's bad. They don't take that element and really give it a fair shot. But we have a different theme for Spider-Man, Peter and Gwen. We have different theme for Harry Osborn, different theme for Electro. Just goes on and on and on and on and on. And then we have that triumphant Spider-Man theme. Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm Spider-Man.
And we have the big Hans Zimmer song at the end to tie it all up, just like he does in Inception and all of his other movies. And it's just so good. It's so good and it's so well thought out. And it's one of his best scores, in my opinion. I might be a bit biased, but I do think that, you know, it is one of the most complex Spider-Man scores. And someone like Michael Giacchino for Spider-Man No Way Home, it doesn't even come close in terms of the complexity of it and the different themes, the different instruments. So that's for me. I bargained hard to get this one in there. So Then we have Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, which you've talked about before, but obviously they are incredible scores that stand the test of time. Another Hans Zimmer. So we have Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and then Hans Zimmer again.
I mean, it's the same nominations as before. Obviously, Hans Zimmer's sort of changed there. I would say that's interchangeable between both of them, though.
Yeah, for sure.
And the winner goes to
Lord of the Rings again.
Yes.
Oh wait, not again. Sorry, Star Wars won before. So Lord of the Rings is going to take this one home. In terms of comparing the score from Fellowship and A New Hope, I do think Fellowship maybe just gets there, but
it's so pretty close. It's so close. This was such a difficult one to choose as well. Obviously, we talked about that before, how you have to look at every single film that we do on the podcast and think, hey, I mean, which is the best score here? And it's so difficult to do. Lord of the Rings, I'm just going to flat out say it's my favourite score of all time. I think Howard Shore just absolutely encapsulated what J.R.R. Tolkien was going for. It's just incredible what he was able to do with the score, and every time I listen to it, it just takes me away, man. It brings me into Middle Earth. It's just such a great score.
Fair enough. The next category is Best Visual Effects. So we've had Worst CGI. This is Best Visual Effects. So I guess Best CGI, however you want to phrase it. The nominations are, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2, The Lego Movie, and Dune.
Newcomer Dune.
So some very recent movies in there, which kind of makes sense given how visual effects is constantly improving. But what do you think of these nominations?
Look, I think The Amazing Spider-Man 2 has the best visual effects out of any Spider-Man film. probably the best visual effects out of any superhero film. Just the swinging, the web swinging in it is just fantastic. And to be minded, that suit is all CGI when it's swinging.
Yeah, for most of it, yeah.
Most of it is it's CGI, and they get
doesn't-
all the ripples on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It looks so incredibly realistic. And then you compare that to something like
Like No Way Home.
Like No Way
When they
Home.
do the same thing.
where
but
it's
then-
just it's skin tight, so you can't see any realistic features on it. But we'll stop bagging on No Way Home. Look, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 VFX are just so good, man. So incredible. The Lego Movie is one that we've put in here, and to explain it, is essentially, I think the Lego Movie had some of the best visual effects of its time. The way that it created the environment, and just the rendering of every single
Every
Lego brick
Yeah.
is insane, man. Like it looks beautiful to look at. It's such a beautiful film to look at. So I think if we didn't put it in here, it would be kind of criminal to not put it in
For
here.
sure.
I adore the visual effects in this. I think it's fantastic.
And it's hard to pass up Dune as well with that. Just think of the scene where the Atreides get attacked by the Harkonnens with all of the, the rockets and the explosions and the ornithopters and the shields and the worms. And it's just all of it, because they did a lot of it practically, it just looks so much better. But that's not to take away from the VFX artists who, created the worms, created the movements in the ornithopter wings, and all of that sort of stuff. So Dune is it's a close category.
Very close category.
But the winner goes to the Lego Movie because it probably had the most complex job out of the two other films. Considering it's an animated film, they wanted to make it look realistic, but they didn't want to make it look too realistic. But they still wanted to get all of those Lego bricks in there, give all that detail, which is just incredible. The detail, it really comes to life when you're watching the film. It's a beautiful looking movie.
Such a beautiful looking movie.
Definitely well deserved there.
Yep.
Best cinematography. This is every film nerd on Twitter's favorite word, cinematography. It makes you sound like you are a director yourself if you say, "Oh, this film had great cinematography."
Yeah.
It's just a nice word to say.
Film nerds.
Yes. But in this category, we have the nominations for Best Cinematography: Dune, TASM 2, or The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring.
Yep.
Your thoughts on the cinematography in these movies here?
Yep. Look, June, like you said before, maybe there's some recency bias, but I genuinely believe that some of the shots Greg Fraser encapsulated in this film are just incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff. It's such a beautiful movie to look at in the cinema. I also think the color grading is fantastic. That's typically not something we touch on. But obviously the oranges and the browns is just so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And then the Batman as well. He's recently done the Batman. It also encapsulates that sort of aesthetic.
Yeah.
Such a great cinematographer. Greg Fraser, check out his stuff. TASM 2, we've talked about it before. Obviously, the web swinging and the way it sort of the camera tracks the web swinging is just fantastic. Another beautiful looking movie. Do you want to talk more about TASM 2?
Yeah, so Dan Mindel did the cinematography for TASM 2. He's also done The Force Awakens. He's done a lot of J.J. Abrams movies, which is kind of a warning sign if you're affiliated with J.J. Abrams. But The Force Awakens was a great looking movie. I'll give it that. And also did The Rise of Skywalker, which the best thing about that movie is how it looks as well.
Yep.
And also did Pacific Rim Uprising, which is one of the movies that...
Oh, that's John Boyega.
Yeah. So that's a movie that a lot of retail stores put on the 4K TVs to make it look good.
Yep.
So that's a testament as well. So he's created some great looking movies. And the cinematography in this, as you said, is just very good, very good. Reliably good, but then also when you get to the web swing, very modern, and also like does new things. You know, it does very unique things in terms of how the camera's positioned. Like we get a few GoPro shots, of first person shots. Those things haven't been done in a Spider-Man film before. You know, look at Spider-Man 3 and then look at TASM 1 in terms of the difference and how everything is captured on camera. It's extraordinary. I don't think he didn't do TASM 1, but obviously he took something from TASM 1 into TASM 2. But Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring is on here. Of course it is. It's a great looking film. It does everything right. What can we say? And in terms of the cinematography, a lot of the times they had to do very complicated things to make the dwarfs look taller and the normal people look like dwarfs and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So
I think it was very advanced in the way that it went about making new techniques, sort of changing the game in terms of, you know, the shots and how it captured those certain shots like you were talking about. Andrew Lesnie was the cinematographer on Lord of the Rings, as he was with all of the Lord of the Rings films, and then into the Hobbit trilogy as well. So yeah, I do believe that Lord of the Rings is some of the most beautiful looking cinematography out there.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our... Wait, did we give the award for that one?
We haven't given out the award yet. You're trying to steal someone's award here.
Let's give that award. Who's it going to?
The Best Cinematography Award goes to Greg Fraser for Dune.
Well deserved. I really hope he wins the Oscar as well.
Yep.
It's going to be close, I think, for this year for the Oscars, but well deserved in terms of the Rewatch Awards. It's a beautiful looking movie.
Yep.
My goodness. And he's on for June too, so brilliant.
Thank God.
Yeah. Hopefully he does the sequel to the Batman as well.
Yep.
Best sound design is the next category. We have The Night House, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, and Dune. Now, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back got onto this list because all of the sounds are not digitally created. They're all like acoustic. Sounds, which is extraordinary. And then what an achievement.
Yep.
The Night House is on here because of just how intricately the sound is designed in terms of the creaking of the house, all those subtle movements. The sound design is what scares you in The Night House. Dune is on here because, I mean, the score, the sound effects, it all comes together and works brilliantly in this huge operatic movie.
Yep.
What are you got any thoughts?
Look, I think The Night House was just so eerily perfect. The sound design in that was just phenomenal. Arguably the best part of the movie. Probably stands alongside Rebecca Hall's performance. You've already explained why Empire Strikes Back is on there. It's all acoustic, so it's created a trend there in terms of sticking to acoustic. You don't really see it nowadays, but it was a trendsetter. And Dune, I had such a great time sitting in the theater watching Dune and just listening to the music, listening to the sound design, the explosions. It was just a cinematic experience. One of my favorite times in the cinema for the sound design. Yeah.
So the award for best sound design is going to go to The Night House, purely because it was such a good movie, and we wanted to honour it with an award, and we think that this award is very well deserved.
Deserving. Yep.
We're not giving it out of pity like they did with Leonardo DiCaprio's Oscar in The Revenant, even though that's an Oscar-worthy performance in my opinion.
Yep.
It's very clear.
But he should have won it before that.
There was a campaign for him, and anyway. So we're giving it to The Night House because that's what scares you in the movie, man.
Yep.
It's just, you can't escape the sound design, as I think you said in
Yep.
the podcast.
Yep.
Jaden's favourite award. I'll let you take this one, mate.
Rightio. So just a quick explanation of these awards is it's the three most favourite movies that we did on this season of the podcast. It's the films that we enjoyed the most. It's the films that we probably enjoyed talking the most about on the podcast. and we just essentially pick our favorite movie out of them. So the nominations for my favorite award are The Empire Strikes Back, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and Dune. Look, they're all phenomenal movies. Obviously, two of these movies have been some of my favorite movies, since I really got into film. And then Dune's on there as well because it really, really surprised me this year.
Yeah.
I had such a fun time with Dune. Obviously, we've talked about it for a ridiculous length on this this award show here. And we had a great time talking about it on the podcast. But as for the winner, it's going to be The Empire Strikes Back. Look, it's my fourth most favorite movie ever created. I do believe that it is one of the most incredible movies ever created. It is just such a phenomenal piece of art. Everything about it is just phenomenal. And I do believe that you also gave it the A+, so it got a double A+ from us on the podcast, which is a very rare occurrence. We don't give it out much.
Well, actually, all of your favourites, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Dune, I believe they all got double A+ from us.
Yeah, they
You have
they
good
are
taste.
all double A+.
You
So
have good
yeah,
taste.
yeah.
Yes, doesn't quite apply to my favourites award. So my favourites, the three are Zack Snyder's Justice League, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Dune as well. So for me, I mean, I love a bit of DC superheroes, and Zack Snyder's Justice League was like everything a DC fan could ever want. It's a Justice League movie that is genuinely good. It develops the characters. It gives you a satisfying conclusion while also setting up very interesting things to come. Great performance by pretty much everyone involved. A lot of people weren't a fan of The Flash, but then he saved the bloody universe or the multiverse in this movie. The score is, it's beautiful by Junkie XL. The cinematography is beautiful as well. It all comes together for an epic 4-hour-long DC fan fest.
Yeah.
So that makes it onto my favorites, of course. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, well, that's my favorite movie of all time. So,
And that's a serious statement, everyone. If you haven't listened to the podcast before, he genuinely he loves The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
It's very nostalgic for me. I won't go into it again. I've got into it so many times, but Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is very, very special to me. That's why seeing him back in No Way Home was so, so cool. Then I also have Dune on there because I'm a big fan of the book. Read it recently, then watched the movie and was completely blown away. I love Danny V's movies, and Dune was something special. But obviously the award's going to go to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because that is my favourite movie of all time. But it is very close, obviously. I would give all of these a 5-star in my heart. So,
Yep.
Move on to our next award, which is our favourite podcast. This is a new award. This is just the podcast that we enjoyed chatting about the most, the film that we enjoyed chatting about the most.
Yep.
And the nominations are, we have The Night House, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Arrival. The Night House is on here because we went into some interesting theories about The Night House. It was a movie that allowed us to do that. We have The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which lasted for 2 hours. So
Just a bit of a drunk podcast, that one was.
it was a good time. It was a good celebration. And then we also have Arrival on there because that was a movie we were very completely polar opposites on. I believe I gave that an A+, and you gave it like a D.
D+.
Yeah. So, and it's very interesting to come at it with different opinions. I was completely blindsided. I had no idea you would think it was that bad at all.
Yep.
I was thinking we were going to have a nice discussion about how good it is.
But I think that made the podcast more fun, just
yeah.
being on opposite ends.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the award's going to go to The Night House, and it's a good podcast if you want to check it out and watch the movie because definitely watch the movie first because we delve into some cool theories there and we sort of come up with some legitimate theories, not just, like...
Not just off the top of our head sort of things.
Yeah.
Things that genuinely make sense and could go well with the story.
Yeah.
It was such a fun time talking about The Night House, and I'm so glad you made me watch it. Please go check out the podcast. I think it was a genuinely interesting conversation that we had.
Yeah. Okay, next we have a award that the lawyers keep telling us to remove. It's called the People's Choice Award. And this is obviously not affiliated with the People's Choice Awards.
Awards
With
an S on the end.
This is the People's Choice Award, not affiliated with the People's Choice Award.
Awards.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to run through the nominations?
So the nominations for the People's Choice Award are Shrek 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Last Night in Soho.
This award is just measured by how many
Well
people watched
received.
it, how well received it was. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I think Shrek 2 for some reason blew up.
Shrek 2 just, I don't know why, but it has like 4,000 views or something on YouTube.
YouTube's a funny thing.
And we tend to average about 30 to 50 views per podcast. I don't know why Shrek 2 just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And that's the YouTube algorithm for you. I'll never understand it. Yeah. I think it was a great podcast. We had a great time talking about that as well. Yeah.
This is a funny one. I'm going to enjoy doing this one. Worst picture, we have Black Widow, Army of the Dead, Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, let's save everyone some time. The worst movie on here is definitely Black Widow. I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's a terrible movie. It shouldn't have been made. Well, it should have been made in 2016 or 2015, but, Kevin Feige wasn't progressive enough to do a female-led movie. But now he suddenly is.
Preach.
And so he's decided to retcon history, even though the character is dead, they'd do a movie about it, which doesn't make sense. Completely takes the stakes away. Introduces a character, which is fine, I guess. She's been a bit annoying in the Hawkeye series, though. Look, if this movie never released, I would be completely happy with that. So I would erase it from history if I could.
Yep.
So worst picture obviously goes to Black Widow.
Well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved. Best animated picture. The nominations are Shrek 2, Lego Movie, and WALL-E. I mean, out of these, there's some great movies
It's
there.
the only 3 we've done this season.
So. Yeah, that is true. That is true, actually. So we didn't do as many animated pictures.
Yeah.
But still, whether we did 3, whether we did 300, the Shrek 2's taken it away.
The Shrek 2 has taken it away.
Shrek 2 is definitely taken home.
it's a double A+. So
so it's got the award there for Best Animated Picture.
phenomenal movie.
Now, the final category, Best Picture.
Arguably the best and the biggest category.
Yes. And all of these films got double A stars from us. The Empire Strikes Back, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and Dune. What's the winner, Jaden?
The winner for the best picture goes to The Empire Strikes Back.
Tough, but deserved.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
you could give it to any of them, but The Empire Strikes Back, it's hard to deny.
Such a great movie,
One of the best movies of all time.
So good.
And that about wraps it up for the Rewatch Awards for Season 2. Thank you so much for listening, and let us know if you would like to, see any other movies tackled on the Rewatch podcast for next season.
No Nolan this season.
Yeah, that's funny.
He had all of the awards last season.
Yeah, that's true. And there was no sort of award or movie or person taking away a ton of awards.
Yeah.
I mean, Florence Pugh probably won, considering she took away 2 awards.
Yeah.
Maybe June's up there as well. Empire Strikes Back as well, but there was no runaways, which Nolan definitely was last year. He was taking away all the awards. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for listening to this episode or this Rewatch Awards ceremony. We will dismiss the crowd. Hopefully Martin Scorsese does not return in the future.
Yep.
With that said, thanks for listening and bye for now.
See ya.